English Idioms for Personality and Character from EspressoEnglish.net. Number 1. Armchair critic. Someone who makes comments or criticisms about a situation in which they aren't taking any action to help solve the problem. Imagine a person sitting in a big, comfortable armchair and making criticisms without getting up and taking action. Number 2. Busybody. Someone who constantly wants to know about or interfere in other people's lives. For example, my aunt is such a busybody. She's always asking nosy questions about my love life. Number 3. Cheapskate. Someone who hates to spend money, even when spending money is needed. John bought his mother a $5 gift for her birthday. I can't believe what a cheapskate he is. Another way to describe someone who hates spending money is stingy. Number 4. Couch potato. A lazy person who spends lots of time sitting or lying down, usually watching TV, playing video games, or something else that doesn't involve physical activity. Stop being a couch potato. Turn off the TV and go get some exercise. Number 5. Down to earth. Someone who is practical, sensible, and realistic. I like working with Janet because she's so down to earth. Her plans and expectations are very reasonable. Being down to earth is the opposite of being a dreamer, visionary, or having your head in the clouds. Number 6. Behind the times, or fuddy-duddy. Someone who is old-fashioned and has not adopted modern customs. My dad doesn't have an email address. He's a little behind the times. Fuddy-duddy is a more negative word. It is more of a criticism, whereas behind the times is more diplomatic. Number 7. Go-getter. An active, energetic person with initiative to pursue the things they want. You can't just wait for opportunities to be handed to you. You need to be more of a go-getter. Number 8. Goody-goody, or goody-two-shoes. Someone who always acts good, sweet, or nice and follows the rules perfectly. Mary was a goody-two-shoes in high school, but when she went to college she turned into a real rebel. The words goody-goody and goody-two-shoes are not compliments. They have the connotation of a person who always acts good and is a little bit arrogant about it, showing off their perfect behavior. An idiom for describing someone as good without this connotation of arrogance is a good egg. Number 9. Know-it-all, smart aleck, or wise guy. Someone who thinks they know everything and that their opinions or ideas are the best. I tried to give advice, but my know-it-all coworker wouldn't even listen. The idioms smart aleck and wise guy are similar, but imply that the person demonstrates their cleverness in an arrogant or sarcastic way. Number 10. A man of his word, a woman of her word, is a person you can trust because they tell the truth and keep their promises. If Gary said he'll be there at 6 o'clock, you can count on it. He's a man of his word. Number 11. Mover and shaker. An active person who helps their company, organization, or group make progress. Martha is the mover and shaker in the department. She's always got ideas to help move things forward. Number 12. A person who is set in his or her ways is stubborn and committed to their current way of doing things. I showed my boss the benefits of this new strategy, but he's set in his ways and doesn't want to change. Number 13. Slime ball. a disgusting, horrible person who deserves to be hated. Harry dumped Kate and immediately started trying to hook up with her 16-year-old sister. What a slime ball! A person can be described as a slime ball in any context, not only romantic relationships. This word can be used for anybody who did an especially terrible, dishonest, or violent action. Number 14. Social butterfly. An extroverted person who loves to socialize with many people. I'm more reserved, but my mother is a social butterfly. Like a butterfly goes quickly from flower to flower, a social butterfly often goes around a room having conversations with many people. Number 15. A stickler for the rules is someone who strongly insists on something and wants or expects others to maintain the same standard. Clean up the classroom after you're done with your project. The teacher's a stickler for neatness. People are usually sticklers for some rule of correctness, such as neatness or cleanliness, punctuality, correct grammar, tradition, accuracy, etc. Number 16. Wet blanket. Someone who discourages or prevents fun or enjoyment for other people through negative actions or attitudes. Other idioms for this type of person include party pooper, spoil sport, killjoy, and a stick in the mud. Number 17. Worrywart. Someone who worries constantly and excessively. My mother's such a worrywart that if I don't call her every day, she starts imagining I've been killed in a horrible accident. To learn 260 common English idioms used in everyday spoken English, get the English Idioms ebook. You can download a free sample chapter in the link under this video. Thanks for watching English Tips from Espresso English. If you liked this video, please share it. Comparative Idioms in English from EspressoEnglish.net. The English language has some idiomatic expressions that emphasize a particular quality of a person or thing by comparing it to something else. For example, imagine you buy a new laptop computer which is extremely thin and light. When describing the laptop, you can say, "It's as light as a feather." Comparing your laptop to the feather emphasizes the fact that it is extremely light. Here are 5 comparative idioms with interesting definitions and origins, and at the end of the lesson, take the quiz to discover 12 more of these idioms. Idiom 1. As clear as mud. This idiom means something is confusing or not very clear. Mud is the combination of dirt and water. Mud is brown. It is not clear or transparent. So if something is as clear as mud, it means it is not very clear. Idiom 2. As happy as a clam. If someone is as happy as a clam, they are very happy. A clam is a type of shellfish that lives on the beach. The original expression was as happy as a clam at high water. High water is when the ocean level increases and the water covers the beach, protecting the clams from predators, other animals that could eat them. So a clam at high water would be very happy. Idiom 3. As fit as a fiddle. Describing someone as fit as a fiddle means the person is in excellent health and excellent physical condition. Fiddle is an old word for an instrument like a violin, and musical instruments need to be kept in excellent condition in order to play well. Idiom 4. as exciting as watching paint dry. This idiom means something is extremely boring. It is not exciting. When you first apply paint to a wall, the paint is wet. It takes several hours for the paint to dry, but watching this process would be very boring. So, if something is as exciting as watching paint dry, it means it is not exciting. Idiom 5. As nutty as a fruit cake. Describing someone as nutty as a fruit cake means they are crazy. This idiom uses two definitions of the English word nuts or nutty. Nuts are a type of food, and a fruit cake is a type of cake that contains a lot of nuts. The word nuts also means crazy, so if a person is nutty as a fruit cake, it means they are really crazy. Now that you've seen a few examples of comparative idioms in English, scroll down and take the quiz to discover 12 more comparative idioms. Thanks for watching English Tips from Espresso English. If you liked this video, please share it. 16 English expressions with the words stand and sit from espressoenglish.net. Number 1. Stand tall means to be proud of yourself and confident in your abilities. For example, don't give up because of one loss. Remember to stand tall and try your best the next time. If something makes your hair stand on end, it means it makes you feel very afraid or frightened. For example, that horror movie with the evil ghost made my hair stand on end. Number 3. If you can't stand the sight of someone or something, it means you strongly dislike them, so that you don't even want to look at them. For example, she wanted to be a nurse, but she can't stand the sight of blood, so she became a teacher instead. Number 4. Standoffish. If you are standoffish, it means you avoid interacting with other people, or you interact in a slightly rude way that implies you don't like them or you feel superior to them. For example, Barbara is very friendly, but her sister Pam is quite standoffish. She's not the least bit interested in anybody else. Number 5. Stand on your own 2 feet. This expression means to be independent and support yourself financially. For example, you are 24 years old with a college degree. It's time for you to stand on your own 2 feet. Number 6. Stand down. This is when soldiers relax and don't participate in a conflict or fight. For example, after the peace treaty was signed, the commander gave the order for the troops to stand down. Troops are groups of soldiers. Number 7. Not have a leg to stand on. This expression means you don't have evidence or logical points in a debate or argument against someone else. For example, Jess, you don't have a leg to stand on in this argument. You haven't learned the facts. Number 8. Stand still or sit still. These expressions both mean to stay without moving. For example, the antelope stood perfectly still as it listened for sounds of possible predators. Parents usually use the phrase sit still to tell children to stop moving around while sitting. For example, my 5-year-old can't sit still when we go out to eat. He's always playing with his food or kicking the table. Number 9. Sit tight. This is an informal way to tell people to stay in a place and wait patiently. For example, when the bus broke down on the highway, the driver told the passengers to sit tight until another bus could come pick them up. Number 10. To sit by or sit idly by means to see something happen and choose to do nothing about it, to remain passive and not take action. For example, we can't just sit by and watch innocent people suffer. We have to do something. Number 11. Won't stand for it. If you won't stand for something, it means you refuse to allow it to happen. For example, I won't stand for other people taking the credit for my work. Number 12. Not stand a chance. This expression means to have extremely little probability of succeeding or winning. For example, the boxer was far more experienced than his opponent. The other guy didn't stand a chance. Number 13. Take a stand. To take a stand means to publicly express your opinion on something, especially a controversy, saying you support or are against it. For example, in the interview, the politician kept giving vague answers and avoided taking a stand on healthcare reform. Number 14. Not sit well with someone. This expression is used when a situation makes you feel uncomfortable or slightly offended. For example, that comment she made didn't sit well with me. It felt like she was indirectly trying to make me look bad in front of my boss. Number 15. Sit out. Sit out means not to participate in an activity. For example, my coworkers are going to a karaoke bar, but I don't like that kind of thing, so I'm going to sit this one out. Number 16. Sit up and take notice. If you sit up and take notice, this means you suddenly become alert and start paying attention to something. For example, when the teacher mentioned that the class would go to Disney World, all the students sat up and took notice. Want to learn more idiomatic expressions? Check out the English Idioms course available at espressoenglish.net. The lessons in this course will help you discover English idioms in context and practice them with exercises. 10 English idioms with the word water from espressoenglish.net. Number 1. A fish out of water. If you feel like a fish out of water, it means you feel uncomfortable, like you don't belong in a particular situation. For example, I don't have any experience working with kids, so I felt like a fish out of water when I had to teach a class of 6-year-olds. Number 2. Come hell or high water. If you say you will do something come hell or high water, it means you will definitely do it, no matter what difficulties appear. For example, I am going to run a marathon this year, come hell or high water. Warning: the word hell can be offensive. In professional situations, use the expression no matter what instead. For example, I am going to run a marathon this year, no matter what. Number 3. In deep water means in a difficult situation, especially one that is beyond the level of your abilities, or in trouble. For example, a number of customers have taken legal action against our company. We're really in deep water now. Number 4. In hot water. This means in trouble, usually when somebody will be angry at you or you will be punished. For example, Jason borrowed his dad's watch and then lost it. He's going to be in hot water when his father finds out. Number 5. Dead in the water. This expression means a project or process is stopped without any chance for success or progress. For example, unfortunately, the after-school theater program is dead in the water. There's no space available in the building to hold the classes. Number 6. Not hold water. If a statement or belief doesn't hold water, it means it has some flaws and is probably not completely true or correct. For example, his argument just doesn't hold water. It's all based on emotions, not on facts. Number 7. Test the waters. If you test the waters, you are trying to discover a little more about a situation before you go ahead and become very involved. For example, before I decided to become a full-time photographer, I tested the waters by doing a few projects to see if I'd enjoy the work. Number 8. Keep your head above water. This expression means trying very hard to survive financially, or when you are barely able to handle a lot of work, which is almost too much. For example, my boss gives me so much to do that I have to work weekends just to keep my head above water. Number 9. A watering hole. This expression literally means a small area of water where animals go to drink, but it is also a slang term for a bar. For example, if you're looking to have some fun, O'Reilly's is the best watering hole in town. Number 10. Water under the bridge. This expression refers to something that has happened in the past and can't be changed, so there's no point worrying about it. For example, 10 years from now, all the little problems you're having today will just be water under the bridge. To learn more idiomatic expressions, take the English Idioms course, available at espressoenglish.net. You'll discover English idioms in context and practice them with exercises. Visit espressoenglish.net to take the idioms course. Learn English phrases and idioms with life from espressoenglish.net. I can't for the life of me remember his name. The expression I can't for the life of me emphasizes that you completely can't do something. There is absolutely no possibility of you being able to do it. My sister's always the life of the party. If you describe someone as the life of the party, it means that person is fun, exciting, and full of energy. This is a person who makes a party enjoyable and is often the center of attention. He seems to lead a charmed life. I've never seen him experience a setback. If someone leads a charmed life, it means that person always seems to have good luck and good opportunities. Everything goes well for the person, and they do not appear to face problems or difficulties. These firefighters put their lives on the line to save a child. To put your life on the line means to put yourself in a dangerous situation where you could potentially die. A similar expression is risk life and limb, meaning to take the risk of experiencing injury or death. During the boat ride, I held on to the railing for dear life. To hold on for dear life or hang on for dear life means to grasp something tightly with your hand, hold it, and not release it. You might do this in a truly dangerous situation. For example, if you are going to fall off a cliff and you manage to grab a tree branch, you would hold on to it for dear life. However, you might also do this in a situation where there is no real danger, but you are simply scared. The students had the time of their lives on spring break. The phrase, have the time of your life, means to have an extremely enjoyable experience. When I changed jobs, I felt like I had a new lease on life. If you have a new lease on life, it means you have renewed your energy and you are feeling good and optimistic about your life. You are newly excited about the future. This phrase can be used when someone recovers from an illness or gets out of a bad situation and is now starting fresh. Would you go out with Jason if he asked you? Not on your life. Not on your life is a very strong way to say absolutely not. My mother calls me multiple times a day. I wish she'd get a life. If you tell someone to get a life, you are telling them to develop their own hobbies, activities, and relationships. This is slightly rude because it implies that the person currently has nothing useful to do. I'm sad that I didn't get the interview, but that's life. When you use the expressions "that's life" and "such is life," it means that you accept the way things are when it's not what you hoped or wanted. Informal phrases and expressions like these are a big part of the English language. If you listen to two native speakers talking, it won't be long before you hear an idiom or two. Most English textbooks don't focus much attention on idiomatic expressions, but understanding them is essential to being fluent in English. In the English Idioms course, you'll learn many of the most common idiomatic expressions. Not only will you learn them, but you'll also get the chance to put them into practice. That's important because it helps you remember them better. Visit espressoenglish.net, click on Courses, and look for the English Idioms course. 15 idioms with the word make from espressoenglish.net. You probably already know some basic English expressions with the verb make, such as make breakfast, make money, and make a promise. But here are 15 idiomatic expressions that might be new for you. After the lesson, make sure to take the quiz to practice the idioms. Number 1. Make a last-ditch effort. This expression means to make a final effort at the last possible opportunity. For example, I made a last-ditch effort to talk to my ex-girlfriend before she moved to a different city, but she didn't return any of my phone calls. Number 2. Make a killing. This idiom has nothing to do with killing or violence. Instead, it means to make a lot of money, usually very quickly. For example, Jack buys apartments located on beautiful beaches and rents them out to tourists. He's making a killing. Number 3. Make your mouth water. If a food makes your mouth water, it means that it's so delicious that you start to get saliva in your mouth just by thinking about it and wanting to eat it. For example, wow, just looking at that triple chocolate cake makes my mouth water. Number 4. Make a pass at and make eyes at. Both of these idioms mean to demonstrate romantic or sexual interest in someone. Make a pass at is more active, like when the person says or does something to demonstrate their interest. Make eyes at is more simply looking at the person with romantic or sexual interest. For example, at the Christmas party, the company president made a pass at the new secretary. Number 5. Make your blood boil. If something makes your blood boil, it means it makes you feel extremely angry. For example, the corruption in this country makes my blood boil. I can't stand to think how much money is wasted with political scandals. Number 6. Make up your mind. This idiom is an informal way to say make a decision. For example, should I buy a bike or a skateboard? I can't make up my mind. Number 7. Make do. This expression means to manage with the resources available, especially when some resource is missing. For example, sorry, I forgot to buy paper towels. We'll just have to make do with napkins. Number 8. Make your head spin.
If something makes your head spin, it means it makes you extremely confused. For example, I don't understand the instruction manual for this computer program. All the technical jargon just makes my head spin. Number 9. Make food from scratch. This expression means to cook food from the original ingredients, not using any previously prepared items. For example, these cookies are delicious. Did you buy them or make them from scratch? Number 10. Make a comeback. When someone or something was popular or successful, then loses its popularity for a while, and then starts to gain popularity again, this last part is called making a comeback. For example, the actor's last 2 films were terrible, but he's making a comeback with his most recent movie. It got great reviews. Number 11. Can't make heads or tails of something. If you can't make heads or tails of something, it means you can't understand it at all. For example, these legal documents are really complicated. I can't make heads or tails of them. Number 12. Make light of something. This expression means to treat something as unimportant. For example, don't make light of the communication problems between our employees. It's really a serious situation that needs to be resolved. Number 13. Make the grade and make the cut. Both of these idioms mean to be up to a standard of quality. They are often used in the negative when something is not up to the standard of quality. For example, she was eliminated in the second round of the singing competition. Her voice just didn't make the cut. Number 14. Make waves. If something makes waves, it means it causes a wide impact on a group or society in general. For example, the author's controversial new book is making waves in the literary community. And number 15. Make your day. If an event makes your day, it means it made you very happy, like it was the best thing to happen in the whole day. For example, it made my day when the English teacher said I was the best student in the class. That was a lot of expressions, so make sure to take the quiz to test how well you remember the idioms. It's also a good idea to try to create your own example sentence for each one. If you want to continue your study of English idioms, check out my idioms course, which will help you discover the most common idioms used in American English, with lots of practice and short answer questions.
English Idioms for Personality and Character from EspressoEnglish.net. Number 1. Armchair critic. Someone who makes comments or criticisms about a situation in which they aren't taking any action to help solve the problem. Imagine a person sitting in a big, comfortable armchair and making criticisms without getting up and taking action. Number 2. Busybody. Someone who constantly wants to know about or interfere in other people's lives. For example, my aunt is such a busybody. She's always asking nosy questions about my love life. Number 3. Cheapskate. Some need to be more of a go-getter. Number 8. Goody-goody or goody two-shoes. Someone who always acts good, sweet, or nice and follows the rules perfectly. Mary was a goody two-shoes in high school, but when she went to college she turned into a real rebel. The words goody-goody and goody two-shoes are not compliments. They have the connotation of a person who always acts good and is a little bit arrogant about it, showing off their perfect behavior. An idiom for describing someone as good without this connotation of arrogance is a good egg. Number 9. Know-it-all, smart aleck, or wise guy. Someone who thinks they know everything, and that she's so down to earth. Her plans and expectations are very reasonable. Being down to earth is the opposite of being a dreamer, visionary, or having your head in the clouds. Number 6. Behind the times, or fuddy-duddy. Someone who is old-fashioned and has not adopted modern customs. My dad doesn't have an email address. He's a little behind the times. Fuddy-duddy is a more negative word. It is more of a criticism, whereas behind the times is more diplomatic. Number 7. Go-getter. An active, energetic person with initiative to pursue the things they want. You can't just wait for opportunities to be handed to you. Your opinions or ideas are the best. I tried to give advice, but my know-it-all coworker wouldn't even listen. The idioms smart aleck and wise guy are similar, but imply that the person demonstrates their cleverness in an arrogant or sarcastic way. Number 10. A man of his word, a woman of her word, is a person you can trust because they tell the truth and keep their promises. If Gary said he'll be there at 6 o'clock, you can count on it. He's a man of his word. Number 11. Mover and shaker. An active person who helps their company, organization, or group make progress. Martha is the mover and shaker in the department. She's always got ideas. Someone who hates to spend money, even when spending money is needed. John bought his mother a $5 gift for her birthday. I can't believe what a cheapskate he is. Another way to describe someone who hates spending money is stingy. Number 4. Couch potato. A lazy person who spends lots of time sitting or lying down, usually watching TV, playing video games, or something else that doesn't involve physical activity. Stop being a couch potato. Turn off the TV and go get some exercise. Number 5. Down to earth. Someone who is practical, sensible, and realistic. I like working with Janet because